All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the FITT podcast. Hope you guys are having a good night tonight. Don't forget, please like, subscribe, comment. We really want new ideas of things to talk about in our episodes. We're open to new ideas. So anything that you guys think would be interesting for to listen to or you want to hear about or know more about, comment in the comment section and don't forget to subscribe and like because we really do appreciate that. So, Yusuf, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing good, bro. Life is good. We're grateful every day.
Life is good. That's how you gotta live your life. So tonight's episode, you guys, we're kind of moving past the myths in the fitness industry and with nutrition and diets and make sure you guys listen to those episodes. It's a lot of good information for you guys to know and take um but tonight we're really going to talk about what me and Yusuf do. So I'm going to talk about my coaching as my side business in terms of what I do for my clients, what I offer, kind of just this, not the step by step in detailed process, but just the kind of the broad spectrum of kind of, how what would be the first step, first 1 through 10 steps to kind of from intake to programming, kind of my thought processes behind that and working with a variety of clients. And Yusuf is going to do the same thing. He probably works with more of a wide variety of clients than I do, so I'm definitely interested to see kind of what he does with a brand new client, how he starts them off, what he, the information that he needs. So with that, Yusuf, let's kind of start off, man. So if a person, let's say a person messages you on Instagram or comes up to you or something like that, and they're like, "Yeah, I really want some coaching. I want some training. Like, could you help me? What are kind of your steps that you go and do? What is kind of your process with that?"
Sure. Just like a lot of good things that come out of this world, it really starts with the conversation. So when someone reaches out first, I like to understand who this person is. I like asking about their lifestyle, asking about what they do for fun. Build rapport with people and really just, be a human being first and foremost. Um, the first thing really comes down to understanding why they want to achieve the goal that they want to achieve. I would say a majority of my clientele is weight loss. However, I'm willing to say at least 13 people are generally overall lifestyle. They want to get into the gym, they want to live whatever live healthy means to them. And we want to do it through exercise and nutrition the right way with no drugs. So the way that we first look at somebody based off of their goal, I think anything from the way that they wake up in the morning to their exercise selection in the gym or daily activity, like what they do during the day when they're not in the gym. There's so many different avenues that we can take a look at and improve somebody's quality of life through exercise, nutrition. It really just depends on what that person wants, right? Lots of weight loss, primarily weight loss clients and general population people want to lose some weight, don't like the way that they feel in their body. They want to be lighter. They don't care if it's muscle loss or fat loss. They just want that number to go down and they want to carry less weight on them. So it's a little bit, I would say, I wouldn't say necessarily easier, but I would say it's less of a task for me when someone just wants to lose weight
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many ways you can go about this, whether we can argue if it's a healthy, sustainable manner or a short-term, quote unquote, unhealthy manner that we can lose this, person's weight off, right? Majority of people are not as fanatical about fitness as we are. At the end of the day, we are a small niche group of people that love fitness, love health, love exercise, love nutrition. And at some point, we have to give people what they want, but we also have to give them a disclaimer saying, hey, this is going to help you in the short term. But the way that I would ultimately want you to do is have a healthy relationship with your food, healthy relationship with your body, healthy relationship with the gym, with fitness, with their overall mental health as well. So it really starts with the conversation, understanding why somebody wants that specific goal. I love asking qualifying questions to my clients about why this even matters to you. What even inspired you to text me? What even inspired you to reach out in the first place? Right. So first thing is a conversation before I even get to any kind of intake or details about, height, weight, body weight, experience level in the gym. But I do like to understand where someone's coming from because believe it or not, we're also human too, and we started off not in shape. We started off curious about exercise. We weren't experts at this. And even to this day, don't even consider myself a know-it-all. We're always learning. We're always in the pursuit of education. We're never done learning, right? But it really starts with a conversation with somebody, and then if they do, if I do think that they're a good fit for programming and for exercise, with the use of FITT program, then yes, we'll send them the intake form, and then we'll get started on the program.
That's awesome, man. So then how do you, I'm sure clients are kind of, after that, what are kind of your next steps, that you do? How do you kind of, what are your thought processes behind, if someone is more of a weight loss patient or someone's is, like you said, you have a wide variety of patients and obviously different age groups in different professions, so lifestyles, etc. If a person comes in, what do you kind of do for like a weight loss patient? What's the difference between like your programming, what you give to a client for a weight loss patient versus someone who, wants to lose some weight, but put on some muscle as well and look leaner and gain some muscle and get a little bit stronger as well?
Right, totally. That's a very good question. So, what really separates each of those clients apart is the amount of care and the amount of help that I'm giving them, the amount of advice that I'm giving them, what kind of advice. Um, it's very rarely that you'll ever speak in absolutes when it comes to training, when it comes to nutrition specifically. Rarely is it ever a complete black and white, yes or no, this is correct, this is wrong, right? Like, so when it comes down to it with weight loss, a majority of people, general population that I see, are dealing with a lot of stress, and it starts in the brain. So you can ask anybody in this world, anyone that has ever gained anything from 20 pounds to 100 pounds. Some people I know that have gained 130 pounds over a year. It's insane, but that doesn't happen just by accident. We're not just trying to all of a sudden eat whatever food we can in sight, and all of a sudden we become this, 100 pounds overweight. There's a reason that happened. There's a deeper, much more meaningful reason, whether it's stress, whether it's a loss of a family member. I've had people that have lost children. I've had people that have lost even like a pet, for example. And because of how close that pet was to that family and to that person, it sent them down this downward spiral of just not taking care of themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, isolation, right? So it really comes down to the person that I'm talking to, kind of where they're coming from and why they're even in the situation to begin with. I like weight loss. I'll be honest, I like weight loss because a lot of the science and the nerdy stuff that we love, like we're never boring our clients with the science of exercise programming and 5x5s versus a Texas method, 5-3-1 method. Like all of that is so arbitrary. At the end of the day, what this really comes down to is knowing that somebody is in your corner fighting for you, giving you exactly what they, giving them exactly what they need to be successful. Some people I focus so much more on mental health, about taking care of themselves outside of the gym, separating themselves from their self-worth about their body, understanding that this is a holistic journey, that you're never perfect 100% of the time. And if it's the time of the year where, for example, people have like for example, a birth of their child, right? I can't expect that dad all of a sudden to be perfect with their food, perfect with their nutrition, perfect with their exercise when they just had a child, right? So everyone needs to get a different care. Everyone requires different, care. Like some people, I have to be more delicate with them and talk more about the mental health side. Some people are so no nonsense. They're not bothered by anything. They're just like, Yusuf, I need someone to keep me accountable. Give me exactly the program to follow, the food, the daily meals, give me the check-ins, give me the proper the proper exercise program, give it to me and I'll follow it to a T. That's a much easier process right there because we know the stuff that works. We know what's proven to work, what's worked for the past 100, 200 years. We know the stuff that works, and those are very straightforward. The stuff that I really have fallen in love with is the emotional side, is the mental health side, is understanding why we have these emotions and why we're using food as a comfort, and why we're ignoring the things that are staring at us right in the face day after day after day. So it really just depends on the person, depends what that person needs. I love the weight loss because it is so progressive. When you see somebody who has never fitted into, say, their jeans from high school. That's one of the most incredible feelings when I can get somebody to physically feel their pant size getting way too loose or a shirt feeling way too big. Or, for example, some people even have their wedding dress from when they got married, like 20, 30 years ago, and they still have it, and they wanted to see if they can fit into it. And when I can get some woman, for example, to fit into their wedding dress, I tell you, my heart is so full, so content because we were able to get this woman feeling so confident and just breaking down in tears, feeling awesome about herself, understanding that it had nothing to really do with why we chose this exercise or that exercise, or why we chose a glute medius dominant exercise versus a glute maximum dominant exercise. It's about being there for people when they really need it, when no one else is supporting them. They have no one in their corner fighting for them and their fitness goals, and they need that support. I love that aspect.
I like that a lot. It's a lot of really good points and a lot of really good, um, honestly, just overall processes of kind of how you go about thinking about how deferring and making sure that each client is thought in a different perspective and not with the same perspective because everyone has a different life, different story, different background, different lifestyle. So if you think about it, if you think with each client as kind of like, okay, I'm gonna ask the same questions, ask the same things, it doesn't, we may not be able to get the best information to actually help them as you actually need. So it's going to make it harder for yourself and also the client. So, um, now what do you, uh, so is your coaching, is it in person? Is it online? What options do they have? How often do you typically see clients in person? How does that all work?
Right. So I would say right now in my life, the majority of my work is in person. The majority of it is in-person coaching in Villa Park. Everybody got to check out Health Code Fitness in Villa Park, Illinois, off of the corner of St. Charles and Kingery, 83. Okay, so near Elmhurst, near Hinsdale, near Villa Park, obviously in Villa Park. It's on the corner of Villa Park and Elmhurst. So suburban, West Suburban guy over here. So majority of my coaching is done in person through online in-person instruction, running through my clients through their workout programs, through each exercise. Majority of it and the majority of where my heart resides in is in-person coaching. The amount of impact you can have on somebody when you're face to face. There's some people who, for example, don't even want to do their own research or spend the time to dive deep into what's optimal or what's beneficial for them. They want someone with them, take all the guesswork out of it, tell me exactly what to do, and they get the results. Some people who are also a little bit more experienced, or for example, if somebody doesn't live in Villa Park, we resort to online coaching. So a majority of it is in person, and people that also one people that are very independent that don't necessarily need that person to handhold them, and they know how to exercise. They know, say for example, they have their own gym, for example, or they're not even just close to Villa Park. Say they're in Wisconsin, right? Online coaching is a better solution for them because they're a little bit more independent. I can adjust their program, I can adjust their reps, their weights, I can adjust their exercise selection. I can do all that remotely and just send them the new program every week. So there is always an option for somebody, whether they're in person or online. So I definitely am proud to say that I do both.
Yeah, and that's a really good thing. I know that helps a lot of clients, especially the ones who need more hands-on, perhaps more of the motivation. Oh, I got this appointment. It gets into their head of they have a routine of they got to go to their personal training and coaching session at this time and this time, rather than, oh, I got to go to the gym, but I don't really have anyone who is kind of keeping an eye on me, or if I, kind of skip or don't go, they're not going to know, necessarily. Um, so I think that's a really great thing. So what do you, so let me ask you this then. Do you, how do you make adjustments? What are your thought process on adjustments for programs, patients who maybe are doing really well, um, and how you kind of progress patients. What are your thought process on progressing patients, but also, um, what are your thought process on like, regressing patients? Maybe you start off, maybe a patient, everything's going really well and smooth, and then they kind of hit like a little bit of a plateau. What do you kind of do, or what steps do you take to kind of, help that patient? Because obviously, as we both know, weight loss is really easy at the beginning, and then your body is just going to plateau. So, what do you kind of do to help those patients that have plateaued and motivation starts to winder and dwindle, not winder, dwindle a little bit? As it does with anybody with starting something new. It's great at the beginning, and then it gets hard, in the middle part. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that part also just starts with a conversation, right? We start asking questions. We have to dig deeper to understand why this is happening. Say, for example, like that's probably the most common thing that I do see is this plateau, right? That a plateau is so general of a term, but that's exactly what it is to describe when somebody's doing all the right things supposedly, but they're not hitting their goal, or nothing is changing, or their body, they're not getting stronger in the gym, or they're not progressing, say, with their weight loss, right? Everything is so case by case, but what this comes down to really is asking hard, tough questions, looking at themselves in the mirror. And as a coach, I think we do a lot of this where we put a mirror up to our client's face and we have to ask these hard questions or, hey, are you actually getting deep, restful sleep? Are you actually following the food protocol as laid out? Are you just guessing? Are you just eyeballing your foods? Are you just giving it up to chance? Are you preparing your meals ahead of time? Are you expecting to have a busy week ahead of you? Are you planning for that busy client, say that client meeting at the restaurant where they're eating out at a fancy restaurant that's loaded in fat, loaded in carbs? Are you planning for that? There is always a deeper question to ask. And depending on, again, who I'm talking to and their experience level of in fitness or what kind of temperament they have and who that person really is and what kind of voice they need to hear, I need to fit into that mold, right? As a trainer and as a coach, you understand this too. We put on different hats. There's so many different hats that we put on within our job. Whether we're talking to the 35-year-old mother of two versus the 17-year-old kid who is in his prime strength, eating all the food in the world, getting stronger, right? There's so many different perspectives that we have to be considerate about and talk to their language and talk to them the way that they want to be talked to. It is such a beautiful feeling understanding that we're all human at the end of the day. And then sometimes, even when you are perfect, like even myself, who is so disciplined, so on point with their food, and even I have a crazy weekend up ahead of me where I know that I'm not going to be able to cook all my food. I can control the controllables, as I say all the time, control the controllables. The rest is literally all up to God. Okay. But the more control that we have over our food, over our training, over our sleep and recovery, we can get much more narrow and much more closer to finding their solution. It really comes down to those questions, the hard questions to ask. Are you really doing the work? Are you actually putting time aside to get all your effective workouts in? Are you performing the movements correctly? Are you, for example, probably the most common thing that I see within my industry at least is new dads, for example. A lot of people that I train are new dads, right? And these dads are literally they don't get sleep. They're eating whenever they possibly can, and again, they're not getting enough sunlight. They're not doing all the Huberman, as I would say, the Huberman tactics, the things that make you overall optimally healthy, right? At the end of the day, that's life, man. Like that is life. And if people truly value their goals enough, they're gonna put in the work it takes to get to what they want to do. But understanding as a coach that we're human, people have lives that are outside of coaching, outside of the gym, outside of the kitchen. When things really matter at the end of the day, people are gonna do what they ultimately want to do. You can only do so much as a coach.
And I think that's all really good points, honestly. All things that all coaches need to take into consideration, take in mind. And I think just always having an open mind and be willing to adjust, and being able to think creatively on the spot, when patients do come in and they're having a rough day or a bad week, How can we kind of turn this trend around? What can we do to fix this? Etc. So, um, and um, I kind of talk a little bit about what I do for my coaching as well. So it's not a full-time business for me. I um, I treat patients through Concentra, work comp, and everyone always asks me, oh, you should really turn this into a business and stuff, blah blah blah. The point for me is like I make great money at my full-time job. I don't do it for the money. When I treat clients, I like being able to really, I don't do in-person training or coaching every session. I do at least one in-person session a month. But I sometimes get bored with only seeing people 3 times a week with therapy for an hour, so 3 hours. Whereas a lot of times I can be really involved in my clients' lives, kind of understand what's going on in their lives, talk to them, communicate with them. Um, and so it is online coaching, specifically for my clientele. It's more online, but we also do at least one in-person session a month. And that's really important to me and them as well. So, when I have a new client who messages me, or sometimes I go up to people and I talk to them, or I message people, I try to get an idea of, what they're looking for exactly. I usually do a phone call, and I kind of do the most of the talking, so they kind of get an idea of what to expect from me, what they're going to get, and then I kind of listen to them and kind of see what they want out of this, what their goals are. Most of the time, it's very specific and concise. It's not anything crazy. They want to lose weight, gain muscle. They want to bulk up, get a little bit leaner. Do have powerlifting clients as well too. But a lot of times it's in those three categories, or they just want nutrition help and diet help. And they're doing their training on their own. So that's kind of what I do in terms of the different types. But once we do the kind of the first phone call, so I can kind of get in touch with them and speak with them, kind of build some rapport. I send them a questionnaire. It takes about like 4 or 5 minutes, but it's a very detailed questionnaire, that gives me the idea of kind of what you're putting into your body daily. How many times a week can you go to the gym? How long can you go to the gym for? Kind of what your daily activities are, what you do for work, weight, height, all that stuff. It's a very in-detailed questionnaire. Like I said, it takes 4 or 5 minutes tops, but then that allows me to get an idea based off our first conversation and then off the questionnaire if there's any questions that I missed, to get all the details that I need to create your program. Um, in terms of how I make the program for my clients, I will say a lot of my clients are um, clients who are already pretty active in their life. Um, they go to the gym here and there, they try to eat healthy, but they don't have that motivation to do that. Um, or they don't really know what to do. They don't know what to eat. They don't know what to do in the gym when they get there, and they're kind of at a standstill, like, I don't really know what I'm going to do today. It's too hard to think or too hard to create a program for myself. I'm just going to skip. So that's what a lot of my clients do. They're active. They want to be active. Sometimes they're actually not active, but they want to be active. And it's wide variety. I treat, a couple 40-year-olds, all the way down to, like 19-year-olds. So, but I also am very particular with who I bring on because I only have like 13 clients right now. It's not super big. I tend to say if I can't remember all my clients' names, I know I'm having too many. Um, that's kind of a thing for me. Like I got to pull back because I have a full-time job, I have another side business, and I have, other things going on with investments and stuff that I have to deal with too. So I have a lot on my plate. So I want to make sure that I can give my 110% dedication to my clients when I do bring them on board to work with me. Um, I will say to the audience, after you do the questionnaire, we'll kind of figure out a date that works best for you to come on board. I'm not going to be too pushy about it. I will say if it is, we do the questionnaire and then we have to wait a month or two, I'll probably have you redo the questionnaire because people's lives do change, things change, how jobs change, how long you maybe think you can work out for might change as well too. Injuries may happen, nutritional changes may happen. So in that month period, I mean, one day a lot of stuff can happen. So but then what I basically do is offer information. I make a program for you. Like I said, in terms of my credentials, I have my doctoral degree, I have my PhD, certified strength and conditioning coach, certified personal trainer, and I have a minor in nutrition. So all the credentials are there. So I use all of my knowledge and expertise. I'm also a nationally ranked powerlifter, so I've been through the ups and downs of training and lifting. So I use all that expertise to create a program for you. I use Google Sheets. Um, I love the program, and I basically create a whole layout for you. And like I said, it is online, so you will get a whole block. A block is 4 weeks of specific exercises that I want you to do. Um, I will say that for the most part, and I know Yusuf would agree with me. I tend to have my patients, unless they can't, we got to build up to that. It's totally fine. I don't always do this. I have a couple clients that we didn't start with this, and we started with other things that were more functional movements. Um, but I do start with squat, bench, deadlift. I know people are like, oh, isn't that a powerlifting thing? Blah, 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 blah. It is, but it's also functional movements of what you're going to do in your everyday life. Picking stuff up with the ground that mimics a deadlift, proper way to pick it up off the ground. While doing that, you're also squatting, sitting down to a chair, sitting down and getting into bed. And then benching is just overall, a lot of times, like I said, my clients, they want to improve their overall physique, their overall just, body frame, body structure, how they look. And as I said, those three movements incorporate the whole body. So I tend to find that we do those three movements, people see a lot of improvement. And also they get stronger as well too, which helps them mentally of the fact that they want to get stronger, they want to put on muscle mass. Those three movement patterns that I tend to find are the best. So I'm not just going to have you jump in and say, okay, this is the weight that we're going to do today. For the first block, I really give specific weights that I think the patient can do or the client can do. And then what I have them do is in that first block, that first 4 weeks, I really try to schedule at least 1 to 2 in-person sessions so I can go in person, break down their technique, have them run through everything, have them go through any accessory questions that they have that I give them in terms of other exercises and other movements. A lot of it is very basic and simple. It's nothing too complex. Um, but I go through all that stuff with them if they have any questions. So that way, when I'm in person and there, they can use my guidance and knowledge. But a lot of times I have my clients send me videos. Um, for me, it's all about buy-in. And when you send videos, it allows you with all my cues that I give. I use actually an app, and I actually give detailed analysis with a lot of graphics about how I want you to improve your overall technique. Because as a therapist, I'm all big in injury prevention and preventing any types of injuries. It's all about functionality and mobility and making everything as functional as possible. And so I will give detailed analysis through videos as well and send you that. So you will have a lot of information to go off of. But I'm also flexible. If we need to change the number of days that you train or sessions need to be shorter, you let me know and I will take things out. If this thing isn't working for you too much or you're starting to develop some little discomfort or soreness, I develop mobility programs as well that I give to my clients for upper body and lower body stretches as well. I give you warm-ups to do for each day. So I give all that information to you. What I also use is for just nutrition clients alone. Like I said, I do I do training clients and nutrition. Rates are kind of, we talk about that and I work through that with clients. I'm very flexible with that. I have a couple clients who are in med school who can't pay me a lot. So that's just an example to truckers. I work with a bunch of different people who, you know, their schedule is kind of fast. 2 days a week, they might be able to get in. 3 days a week, they might be able to get in. So it's really just kind of what we can do. And instead of having set days like I have with some clients, I kind of just give them their program. They go and do it on their own. They're independent. They send me videos. They send me feedback. That's important to me. And another thing is like we track your sleep, stress levels, activity levels, which are all really important for me to kind of give me guidance on kind of how you're doing, how your life, what's going on in your life. We talk about that. I try to do at least one um, client call a week, if not that, every other week, just 5, 10 minutes just to check in. But for my nutrition only clients, I have a Google Doc. Well, also in the Google Sheets, there's a lot of nutrition information as well, and about kind of mainly like goal setting, how to set short-term and long-term goals, the right mindset, more mental and emotional well-being stuff that I add in there in the Google Sheets that you'll get access to. But you also get access to, you know, tracking your morning weight and night weight and putting that in because I tend to say at the end of each week, it calculates your average. And if you're like, holy crap, like I met my nutritional intake goals and then my weight went down, or hey, my stress and activity level is pretty high on stress, low on activity, and my weight went up, like then oh, that's maybe why I felt really crappy going into the gym and kind of groggy. All that stuff comes into play. I calculate your nutritional intake if you are doing both. Um, in terms of I use my specific calculations that I learned in school to calculate what we should be eating. And then with the Google Doc, I break that down. I typically do 4 meals a day with clients, sometimes five, if not more. I don't do three with clients. So, but I break down the specific caloric intake goals that I want you eating based off of your daily intake goals. Calculations and percentages are there. And then I give you a list of foods that I want you to eat for that meal. Now, allow, I'm not specific. I'm not saying you have to eat this, 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 and this. Um, I love my patients who do, or sorry, clients who do put in what they eat. If they eat something different, that allows me to be like, okay, that's what they're eating, perfect. Or that's where they're getting the protein source or carb source from. That's perfect. The biggest thing with this is that I really like buying in and being not as independent as independent as possible, but learning on your own. I find that that's the best way to learn is learning on your own, but also having that guidance of a coach who I do 24/7 communication. I will message you at work. I'll message you at night. I am available for a phone call if you need to. Like I am there for support, help, whatever it may be. You got stuff going on in your life. Like I'm there to talk. So it's not just like just give you your program and that's it. Like you can ask my clients. Sometimes when they don't respond to me for like a day, I message them like, "Hey, is everything okay? How's everything going?" Like that is what I do. So it's really great. I love it. And like I said, I don't have a wide variety of clients, and a lot of clients just because I want to give my whole 110% undivided attention to my clientele. Um, but I honestly feel like at this point I have more clients who are coming on board in the next month or two, but I do feel like I can take on more, just because everything, when you start with this, it's kind of like, okay, can I take on this money? Can I, I don't want to take on this many people, but I think I can do this. And you're kind of figuring yourself out. And as you learn and you learn more and you get more organized, it gets easier. So, and I love helping people, which is the big thing. Um, I love people telling me that they've lost this amount of weight, or even if they don't tell me, they just put it in their Google sheet. I'm like, dude, you lost like 10 pounds in this past month. And he's like, oh yeah, I didn't really think about it. I just been kind of grinding, just continuing to work at it. Like that's pretty cool for me to see that. And I also try to just make it as friendly as possible for my clients. So um, I have group chats with all my clients in it so they can kind of talk about everything. So I feel like that kind of builds rapport with everyone and everyone can kind of talk about what they're going through and, you know, how if they have questions for each other, like, hey, do you know necessarily like how do you have you tried this exercise? How was this exercise? Have you tried this? Let's try that. Like, have you guys tried, this type of restaurant or this type of thing? Like, it's not just about the training aspect and coaching. It's also just like everyday lives that a lot of my clients have kind of been able to kind of grow friendships even. A couple of my clients have become good friends because of the group chats that I bring everyone into, and I feel like that just brings buy-in. Some of my clients even started working out together. So I think it's overall a great thing. And um, tonight's podcast, we're gonna wrap it up here, but tonight's podcast was really just about giving you guys two people who are willing to help you and want to help you reach your goals and aspirations and everything that you need. So, Yusuf, you got anything to say last minute before we kind of wrap it up?
Hey man, fitness, it's a journey. It's a journey, but it helps when you have someone who's rooting for you every step of the way, especially on the days you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to cook your food. It helps to have somebody who's been through the same feelings that you have and have been doing it for a living. So definitely helps.
Exactly. Exactly. So hit us up, let us know, but don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, like and comment.